This is Power Athlete Radio. With your hosts, Denny K, Professor Booty, and the Luke Summers. And now, toes forward, hips locked, shoulders set, and retract those scapulars. It's time for some knowledge bombs.
What's happening, Power Athlete Nation? Welcome to Power Athlete Radio episode 58. As always, we're going to bring you a great show. We got some kick-ass guests. We have Luke, Callie, and Tex from Power Athlete. How you guys doing?
What's going on, Denny?
Ahoy, hoy.
Incredible.
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 Is that like a new hello?
Hello.
He asked me how I was doing.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Fantastic.
You know what? We got our favorite, here we go, Transant Jacques Vabre.
Close enough.
Close enough. I think I was going to go with like TJV.
That's what we'll call it.
Okay, we're going to talk some TJV. We have Rob Windsor and Hannah Jenner rejoining us. Thanks a lot, guys. How you doing?
Great, thanks.
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So before we get balls deep into the conversation, no joke from Power Athlete HQ? Come on.
No.
We're muted.
No giggles, no nothing? All right. Before we get too deep into the conversation, it's been a while since we had you guys on the show, and maybe you can just kind of refresh our minds as to what the TJV is.
Well, the TJV is this race from France to Brazil, sailed by just two people on various different boats, but me and Rob were a team sailing it on a 40-foot boat, so it's a pretty extreme event, and it can take anything from sort of 25 to 30 days of non-stop sailing.
And that the boat that the team that you race for is 11th Hour Racing, right?
Yeah.
And one of the ways that you prepared for a 30-day race like that was you were using CrossFit the last time that we spoke. How did that training in that kind of domain, how did that transfer into your race? Because I'm assuming in the other races before then, you didn't use like CrossFit as far as like a training system, right?
In my case, that's correct. Yes. I didn't use anything really aside from going to the gym once in a while prior to this race.
I never done CrossFit before. I started doing it because just maybe a month before Rob came to England for the race, and then we probably trained for, what was it, 2 months, Rob? Or was it
about 2 months straight.
And CrossFit was, I think the key thing with CrossFit is that obviously with sailing, you've got to be really strong, but you also need to be able to move around and be kind of supple and have great core strength, almost have great gymnastic ability because you're kind of bringing around a boat the whole time. You've got to be able to haul your body weight around quite easily. And CrossFit covers all of that, and it's different every day. So it's really been a fascinating journey, and I'm still going to CrossFit 5-6 times a week. I'm totally hooked. I love it. So I'm really glad that we got into it before this race.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm didn't get as hooked as Hannah, and I am not still going. I probably should go, but I've been doing a lot of sailing and been doing a lot of traveling, so I've been having a tough time settling down and finding a home. But the thing about it I like the best is I felt really super strong, but I think the cool thing about CrossFit and the CrossFit box that we went to in England was that there's a lot of mental toughness involved in CrossFit as well, about never quitting and kind of just, giving it 1,000% as long as you can. And shorthanded sailboat racing is 90% mental. And, being able to deal with the adversity of sailing on a boat for a month without stopping, going to CrossFit really helped me physically, but also mentally as well.
That's important. Luke, or Callie or Tex, in some of the conversations that we've had, you guys have kind of said something similar, as far as 90% of like the game or your given sport is mental. Do you see any correlations as to what Rob's saying into like the power athlete like training system?
Yeah, we refer to it as a psychology discomfort. It's, being comfortable in an extremely uncomfortable state, and really you need to expose yourself to that stimulus to really start to appreciate it, right? And I guess what people didn't realize is you can replicate that in the weight room. And it's something that we talk about at the seminar too. You have to temper that, because really when you start talking about getting people uncomfortable in your CrossFit box or CrossFit gym, it's because you're blasting them with volume or something that may not be the most effective way to drive adaptation for their training goals physiologically. But on the psychological side of it, you got to get people to be bulletproof, especially in a competitive environment or let's say military or tactical environment, because that's when the lives are on the line. And I guess the more dangerous the sport, the more you have to be able to make a logical and rational decision when emotion and tempers are high, right? And Callie jokingly calls this at the seminar, we draw this inverse relationship. We chart it where stress goes up, logic goes down. She calls it the chart. The
diagram of a woman.
The diagram of a woman.
Yeah.
And I guess she can get away with it because she is.
Because I'm a woman.
So we're told. And but it's a saying. Like, when's the last time you've made an emotional decision, in the sense that in the absent or in the height of emotions or stress in a stressed environment, you may not make the most logical choice. And there's merit to that. And we know that we can push that threshold out. So what Rob's saying is right on. And I can remember kind of first grasping the concept when I first got into CrossFit, and it was had to do with work. Because I just thought, you show up to work, you get there at 7:30, you leave at 5:30, and life sucks. And that's what work's all about. And I was able to deal with the stresses at my desk job when I first found CrossFit much better when I started training. And it was just like, this is like nothing compared to, like whatever would come across my desk or whatever problem someone would hit me with and be like, have you ever been in minute 26 of Murph? Or like minute 15 of Murph? Like, it's nothing compared to that, So you get that psychological discomfort, and you start to push that threshold out, and you're just able to cope or manage or make rational decisions and kind of operate under pressure.
So there's a lot of layers to what Luke's saying. So stress is stress in the body, no matter if it's Murph or your girlfriend just dumped you or something goes on in your life. So your body physiologically responds to stress in the same way, whether it's exercise or just completely mental. So in that psychology discomfort, I love working with athletes that have to compete, or military guys where there is a goal on the line. It's not just exercise, more or less. It's not just reaching that fitness goal. It's, if you screw up, you're going to fall off the boat, or if you screw up, you're going to get behind, and you're going to have to work even harder and be more dialed in to make up that lag time in the race.
Right.
Now I'm doing more and more CrossFit and contemplating going to do my first competitions. It's like I'm taking from sailing that whole idea where you can't quit because you can't get off the boat. You're thousands of miles from anywhere. So you've got to find a way around a problem. And if you're having a really bad time trying to fix something or just a general bad day, then, you've got to just take a deep breath and approach it differently. And so as I'm lifting heavier and heavier, sometimes when it gets heavy and I can't do something, particularly like cleans or my nemesis, if I'm trying to kind of use that sort of sailing skill and not make it become a mental block and get hugely frustrated by it, and just sort of take a deep breath and think my way around it and keep going.
Yeah, we were discussing that last episode when John was on the line. So Hannah, I guess now that you're getting more engrossed in the CrossFit community, did you watch the CrossFit Regionals events?
Oh, yes.
So our boss was actually did the commentating for the Southern California Regionals, and we were talking a bit about just the kind of the psychology of that competition, and what I was surprised to see when we were the few minutes, because we actually had a tent at ours, so we didn't get to watch. But as I'm watching these streams, an athlete may get no reps. Okay, so there goes an emotional spike where you feel that you're entitled to a rep, and certain athletes' reactions would be to stop, look at the judge, question the rep, and
spend time
with dealing with this emotional spike. Whereas there were other athletes who would get no reps and then they do another rep, versus completely abandoning their momentum given their expectation that it should have been a rep. And that's what that kind of just barrel forward type of mentality. It's funny that you said, like, we're on a boat, there's really no other option, we have to figure something out. If you can keep that mindset, it allows you to kind of persevere through any of that adversity.
It's fascinating. Just before I came back out to the US 3 weeks ago, I went with the team who was representing my box in England, CrossFit Solent, up to the big competition, Divided We Fall, and watched them do their thing. And it was fascinating to see how each 4 members responded and reacted to sort of when they did get some no reps and when they were about to go into another event and everything was hurting, and how they dealt with it, like physically and psychologically. They did a good job.
So did I overhear that you're thinking about competing in a CrossFit, like a local CrossFit event, Hannah?
Yeah, I've actually, unfortunately, because of my travel schedule and sailing and stuff, I've missed out on a couple events back in England that I could have teamed up with some of the girls and some mixed teams for, which I'm really upset about. But I've joined a box here in Newport, Rhode Island, Force Newport CrossFit, to try and sort of keep the training up. And then when I do get back to the UK, whenever that might be, I'm gonna try and team up with some of the guys and girls from my box back there and start doing some competitions.
Luke and I think Luke and Tex are going to be heading over to England in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
For a CrossFit football seminar, and
Yep.
They're going to be out in Massachusetts in a few weeks as well. If you're still out in Rhode Island, that's just not like an hour drive, but if you could ever get a chance to attend like one of the CrossFit football seminars, I definitely would try to do it. The hands down one of the best specialty seminars that CrossFit can, that they have to offer.
Well, I'm
not just saying that because I'm friends with these guys.
I'll coach
Sure you're not.
Duncan Algius from CrossFit Solent. He's a CrossFit football coach.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And he's a super nice guy as well. I quite liked him. He really ran the whole thing very well. And he played football here in the States. So proper
so when you
American
walked by,
football.
gave you a nice pat in the butt, you were comfortable with that because
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was feeling good about myself, and it was all good. Yeah.
Awesome. You know what? I followed you guys for a while on Facebook when the race started, and if I remember correctly, there was you ran into some issues, right? There was some problems with the boat, or you had to make some quick decisions, which I'm assuming is always, you always got to kind of prepare for that, like the unknown. CrossFit says like the unknown and the unknowable. Was there anything that really stood out that didn't seem to be, like the common issues that you're going to run into on this last race?
You go ahead and tell him, Han.
Oh, God. Well, for a start, the whole race start was delayed by a couple of days because of the really bad weather. So you psych yourself up to start on a certain day, and then you get told, nope, not today, maybe tomorrow. No, not today, maybe tomorrow. And then we could only sail for 36 hours, and we were forced to stop again because there was another big weather system. And then we finally got going, and about 36 hours after that start, we were sailing in just sort of in the Bay of Biscay, and heard a loud bang, and part of the rigging had failed. And so sort of multiples of square feet of sail, which were meant to be up in the air, are suddenly in the sea. And it looked like maybe our whole race was over, just 36 hours into it. So we pulled the sail out of the sea. We had to turn around, sail 150 miles back towards the French coast. And we decided that although we had every reason to quit, if we could fix it, we'd fix it and we'd get back out there. So we did that. So we had about a sort of 24, 30 hour behind everybody else by then because of the fix. We got back out. We were flying along, going really fast, confident that we'd be able to get back in the game because the race is 5,000 miles long. So, you're far from out. And just off of Spain, our SATCOMs all failed. So we had no way of receiving weather information or basically no way of communicating with the outside world, bar one satellite phone. So we spoke with our sponsors at the 11th hour and explained the situation and said that it would be really hard to be competitive without having vital weather information. But because we were doing it for more than just the competition, we were doing it to see if we could sail all that way, in an environmentally friendly way. They were like, well, if you guys want to carry on and think you can, then you should. So we did, and we ended up sailing what amounted to 6,000 miles, basically with no communication with the outside world. But we did complete the environmental objective, so.
Wow.
Like navigating with the stars shit.
Yeah, it's old school.
Right, going old school.
We still had a GPS working, so we knew where we were. So we weren't quite that old school. We just couldn't necessarily put the boat in the most optimal place. So then you have to watch the rest of the fleet just make all the right decisions because they're informed, while we're kind of sailing blind behind everybody else. And psychologically, that is super tough.
It's kind of like having a GPS in your car and you look at it and on the screen, and normally you'd look at it and there'd be streets on it and it would, tell you make a right here and a left there and you can get to your destination. And we were just looking at a dot for us and a dot for where we wanted to go with no street map is basically what it's like. You could see how that could be really tough just in a car, and then to take it, out into the middle of the ocean, made it a little bit of a tough go.
You know what I'm imagining is Callie utilizing that.
I was just thinking about that.
Like I have the map for her, and I'll be like, take her right up here, right in 200 feet, 150, 100, 50, 20, 30, 10, 0.
I'm
you gotta go right back there.
The interesting thing is that I already utilize the constellations, my knowledge of the constellations for travel, except the problem is it only works in the evening. So during the day, I'm completely useless.
This doesn't lie.
No, it's 100% true.
Wow, that's impressive feat, to say the least.
The most awesome thing is that we had every reason in the world to fall out and hate each other and fight and let all the frustration of it all, really go wild, because we're living in this teeny tiny little space. The boats are 40 feet long, but the living space is probably only like 15, 20 feet long. And in all that time, with all of the stress, and we still kept pushing, and we only ever exchanged harsh words once. So for maybe 2 hours out of 30 days, we were a little grumpy. And apart from that, we managed to work through everything, and we're still friends.
And we still talk to each other. We just had dinner the other night. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe. It's like being.
You can't just leave. You know what? I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like trying to squeeze into the smallest closet in your house with your girlfriend or your wife or your whoever. That would be. I can't even imagine doing that with my wife. And
yeah.
But I did it with my friend Hannah for a month without ever talking to anybody else or having anybody else around except her. And to be able to still talk to that person is pretty impressive, I think.
Well, part of it too is it's just out of virtue of the fact that you have no choice. I mean, once your mind gets over the barrier that you're not going anywhere, if you take away the option of there's no option of leaving during that time, And so when you take away that, then you realize probably in that situation is it's more trouble than it's worth to really create argument, because this is your only ally in that situation,
Yeah, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I don't know if I really agree with that though, because I've been on boats where there's nowhere to go and people hate each other.
Oh, really?
I mean, they just don't talk to each other at all.
Oh.
And on this, there's only two of us on the boat, and we're kind of both responsible for looking after the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we did a good job of looking after each other and keeping each other's spirits up.
That's great.
To keep on keeping on,
That's great.
Tex, is there anything can you draw from that? What I was thinking when they were talking about like when the sail went down, do you guys got to jump out into the water to kind of?
No, we pulled it back into.
Down, you're gonna have to get out of the boat, right?
We pulled it back on the boat from the boat.
Oh, okay.
It's just a hell of a task.
Like Tex was telling us some of the stories that he did. He went down to Tampa with another great coach, and I was thinking of Tex's love for water, right?
Love for water.
What do you think, Tex? If you were in that situation, you're gonna jump out into the water, say if you had to, or you're gonna sit on the boat?
Well, I'm hold on, guys. I'm having trouble connection. I'm a terrible swimmer. I definitely would be. My question is, were y'all wearing life vests?
At the time, probably not.
Okay. Well, I would first off be wearing a life vest the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that psychology discomfort and then a lot of drown proofing. Basically, every other kind of calm down drill that you might think of is focus on your breath. Well, this takes your breath away and then forces you to concentrate absolutely on the stress. You have nothing else to think about but the lack of oxygen and being 12 feet deep underwater. Luke knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But at the bottom line, if it's my goal to finish that race, if my goal to compete and I have no choice but to go in, I'll go in. And I mean, I don't know, is my life on the line?
It could be.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen you swim, Tex. Yes, it is.
Yes. I tell you what, I'd send Hannah in the water and I'd help her from the boat pull the sail in.
Right.
Well,
Rob, do you guys do any kind of training like that? Like what he was saying, as far as what'd you call drown proofing and?
No, we try and avoid going near the water, but I nearly lost Rob in the water. We were fairly early on in the race when it's still cold, and we were in really serious weather and sailing really, really fast, doing like 25 knots, which doesn't sound very fast, but on a sailboat, that's pretty fast. And the autopilot was driving because I was having to do some work in the cockpit, and Rob was at the front of the boat, and we surfed down this probably 30+ foot wave, and the autopilot couldn't quite keep up, so the boat turned the wrong way and did what's called a crash jibe. So it ends up pinned right on its side in a really bad situation. Because Rob was on the front of the boat, thank God he's really, really tall, because he managed to kind of, as the boat sort of flipped over on its side, to grab something and hang on. But for a minute, like the boat goes on its side, and I'm just looking around, and I look forward, and I'm like, shit, where's Rob? And thankfully, I saw a pair of boots dangling and still attached to Rob. I was like, okay, he's still there. It's good. Get the boat upright, then go get Rob.
Yep.
Wow.
Very exciting.
Did y'all do any kind of mental exercises to prepare yourself for the stressful situations, the cramping, being close to each other? Anything outside of physical training?
I think with just the training, I mean, Hannah and I both have been sailing for quite a while, and we've got a lot of miles, and I think that's just comes from experience. I hear you on the kind of mental training and whatnot, but all the mental training that I've done is really just kind of suffering through other sailboat races and sailing lots of miles.
I mean, between me and Rob, we've sailed over 500,000 miles. So that's quite a lot of sort of training right there.
Sure.
Damn.
Yeah. Is there anything you would tell a younger version of yourselves to kind of expedite that mental toughness process?
Yeah, get a real job.
Don't do it.
No, I think really, you got to make sure that you're doing what you really want to do. If you don't own it and you're not full on all the time when you're out there, you can only hurt yourself or someone else. And so I think if this is really the kind of thing that you want to get into, you get into it, but you can't be halfway in. You're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
Once you decide that, then you can start doing the, tens of thousands of miles every year and you get the training and learn what you need to learn.
How did the nutrition go through those 30 days? I kind of remember talking about, like, you guys were growing vegetables on the boat, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I know if John would have been here, he could have really dive into the nutrition part, but these Luke Kelly and Tex have a good knowledge of nutrition as well. But how did that all work out? Was that fine? Did you guys drop 20 pounds, or?
No, we did a lot better this time. I've done transatlantics before where in 18 days I've lost sort of 14 pounds in weight. And I don't really have 14 pounds of weight to lose. So this time we obviously most of our meals were all freeze dried. We took a lot of jerky and biltong and stuff like that to get protein. My mom made us a ton of what we call flapjacks. I know sometimes some place in the UK don't call them flapjacks. What would you call them, Rob? Would you call them?
They're kind of they're like granola brownies. They were pretty tasty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like oats and honey, but chewy.
Okay, all right.
So we're trying to work on taking stuff that would supply sort of slower release energy and not eat so much kind of just grab chocolate bars and get immediate sugar highs and then big sugar lows. And obviously there still is a need for that when you're out there racing, but we tried to keep it more balanced and a bit more sort of all round because it's easy to just lack some serious nutrients, particularly protein, because we have no cooking facilities apart from boiling water.
Right.
Yeah, I was curious to how it would perfect your performance, your quick decision making, judgments, stuff like that. Rob, you remember Luke telling you about chugging some olive oil?
I do.
Did you do it?
We brought some olive oil on board, and my insides were working pretty well. So I think I'm a capful more than a chug. But,
yeah, that's about right.
But yes, I do recall, and I've brought that into my my sailing kit. I make sure that I have a little bit of olive oil on board all the time now.
And then you guys were talking last time about losing 20, 30 pounds throughout the deal. What was your body composition afterwards? Did you guys suffer the same type of deterioration, I guess?
I lost some. I don't remember what you told me, Han. I lost 12 pounds. So I weigh about 210, but I don't have 12 pounds to lose. I'm 6'6" and I weigh 210.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have a whole lot.
No.
I think I lost maybe 8 or 9 pounds. So that was not as bad as it has been before. And if the race had gone on much longer, we would have started to get into trouble because we were starting to get low on food.
Oh yeah.
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 Well, that's a lot of planning, and you're out at sea. There's not much to help you out.
Yeah, there's no McDonald's to stop at.
Yeah, no drive-throughs.
No drive-throughs. So, but what we went out. What did we have? When we arrived, the French race organizers made us. We had steak as soon as we hit the dock.
They bought us 8 steaks.
8 steaks. And tomatoes.
8 steaks per person?
8
no,
total.
Oh, okay.
But they were fairly decent size. I was impressed. It was pretty good. We had some red meat, and it was nice. It was a good Good first meal on land.
Ordered some beers, and I went from sober to drunk to hungover within an hour.
Instantaneously.
It's a bit depressing.
Oh man,
That's accelerated adaptation.
I think that happened recently. I have a question. So outside of sailing, competitively, do you guys play any sports or just recreationally for fun?
I'm a basketball guy.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so how often do you play basketball then?
I play generally when I'm home in like a town league. Once in a while when I'm away, I'll play a pickup game.
Okay.
But not that often. The sailing takes up an awful lot of time.
Sure. How about you, Hannah? Is CrossFit kind of been that sport for you, or do you play any other sports besides that?
No, it's just all CrossFit now. I haven't got time to do anything else. Like in the winter, I'll go snowboarding for a little bit, but it's usually only like a week because that's all the time I can get away. But yeah, CrossFit's taken up all my spare sporting time now, which is cool.
Yeah, fantastic. Cool. Just curious.
So what's next in store for you guys? Is like when I guess would be your next race, or are you just doing the one race a year? I can't imagine.
Oh no.
Maybe you are.
I just finished a race, and you can Google it. If you Google it and look at, I just finished a race in Newport. We started in Charleston. It's called the Atlantic Cup. It's actually Juliana's event. And we raced from Charleston to New York City, and then New York City to Newport. And then we were doing inshore racing in Newport. That was just like 2 weeks ago. And we were winning, and we hit a rock with the boat. Yeah, which was a bad day. But the next thing for me is Newport to Bermuda. Newport, Rhode Island to Bermuda. Double-handed on another class 40. I'm doing it with a guy this time instead of a girl. Yeah, I've got a couple more events. What are you doing, Han?
I'm getting a boat ready to do the Newport to Bermuda race, but I can't sail it because it's in the amateur class, so I'm not allowed to go. But then my next events will all be in the Mediterranean, various events over the summer, which should be fun. And then another transatlantic at the end of the year from Lanzarote in the Canary Islands over to Grenada in the Caribbean.
Wow. And then is all this done under 11th hour?
No, these are separate now.
Oh, okay.
What's the sunblock situation like in these races? Do you guys have to wear? I'm just curious. Do you guys have to wear a ton of sunblock?
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm very fussy about the sunblock that goes on my face. Like I'm strictly Clarins on my face. Otherwise,
Sure.
you get really spotty and disgusting. But that's the problem. Like for a race like the TJV, when you're out there for 30 days and probably 20 days of it, you're in sun.
Yeah.
So, and you can't have a shower. So by the time you've finished slapping on sunscreen for 20 days, your skin's pretty clogged up. It's pretty
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, sorry for the superficial questions. It's just these are the little things that you don't think about, but are necessary, I suppose.
I should probably wear more sunblock. It's nice to sail with a girl, and they always give you a little elbow and go, "Did you put your sunblock on today, Rob?"
Yeah.
Somebody. I need a little looking after.
That's the trouble.
Well, yeah.
It's all right when you get all sun-ravaged and rugged looking.
Yeah. I know, but
For me.
ruggedly handsome though is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but there's a fine line between ruggedly handsome and old catcher's mitt.
Agreed. I think I'm on the good side still. I don't really know.
We call that the Clooney side.
The Clooney.
Yeah.
Did y'all have any problems with the water you packed? What was the water situation?
Urine.
Waterworld?
We had a water maker. We have a water maker on board, so it makes water from seawater.
Oh.
So that worked fine, and we did have some spare emergency water in case that didn't work.
Problem with water maker water is that as it gets hotter and hotter and the sea's hotter and hotter, all you want is a cold drink, but you're getting water that's the same temperature as the sea, so it's like 25 degrees. I don't know what that is in
80.
Yeah. Not ideal.
That's a hot toddy.
Yeah. But yeah, it worked out okay. We did fine with the water, and we had some electrolyte stuff to put in it, and change the flavors a little bit and that kind of thing to make it a little bit easier to handle.
You guys see any weird marine life while you're out there?
Pink jellyfish.
Yeah, right. Just kind of chilling out, and all of a sudden the freaking whale comes up, and
Oh yeah.
That I've seen.
Yeah. Sharks and dolphins and tunas and.
Does that just scare you guys?
Whales are scary. If you're going fast and you're near whales, because if we hit them, then both parties are going to come off bad.
Yeah.
And they're bigger than the boat, most of them, so pretty scary.
Ugh.
So outside of your guys' turmoil during this race, were there any other teams that
suffered
similarly?
Yeah, there was
worse?
a couple boats that didn't finish, that quit and didn't, that had a problem and quit. And there was a couple boats that had some other problems that did finish. But there's several boats that had some issues that couldn't make it to the finish line.
Probably weren't following CrossFit, obviously.
Yeah, and they weren't as mentally tough as we are.
You guys just kind of drive by them and maybe offer some assistance, or you just go by, maybe moon them.
Yeah, it's not quite like NASCAR, if you're more than a couple miles away, you don't get to see the other boat,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth the trip, though,
But I would moon them on the way past.
For the record.
Ha ha.
Yeah.
Spike the ball.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
You get a mature conversation going on.
Well, we're almost where are we at? We got about 10 more minutes left, but we appreciate you guys coming on and joining us. Do you plan on doing the TJV again in 2014, or
the next one's 2015?
Yeah, maybe get together in 2015.
I would definitely do a sailboat race again with Hannah. I think that this time we got our campaign together really quick, and I think that if we had some serious time to plan and enough money to charter a boat and all that stuff, and we could really put a good plan together, I would totally do it again.
Yeah, me too.
I think I could handle her for another 30 days, no problem.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. We're gonna have a repeater race.
Yeah. I don't know if I was a guarantee. I just said that I would do it.
No, that was it. We're amassing sponsors right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you come up with some sponsors, I'll go wherever you want.
There you go. Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having us. This is fantastic.
All right, so we do have a couple listener questions and then a couple updates. So, Callie, do you want to go with updates first or questions first?
Yeah, I'll do a quick update just for any Power Athlete listeners. I know we've had tons of questions regarding the Power Athlete Team Series, and we're going to do a formal announcement tomorrow. So when the site switches over at 4, everything's going to go up for the details on registration for the Power Athlete Team Series 2014. We're super stoked on it, and I'm sure it's going to stoke a lot of conversation in the coming weeks on, our Power Athlete HQ site among the members and among Facebook followers. So look for that tomorrow, and I will look forward to all the questions that go along with it.
Nice. And then I guess before the show, Denny, we were kind of just chatting on things to update on. So we got Pat's coming out. We got some new shirts out. So if you haven't visited the store lately, check it out. Right now it's still on store.crossfitfootball.com. All that's going to get pushed over here. Hopefully in the next couple of months, we're going to have everything get migrated into Power Athlete with some site updates.
Texas seminar.
Yeah, and then this weekend, John and I are heading out to Austin. It's still not too late to sign up. We're going to be at CrossFit Central and, doing our thing, putting on the show. And then after that, we're going to hop over to London. Tex and I are going to be in the UK, putting on a seminar there for another 30 or so people. Again, both still have some spots open, so sign up and get it going.
I got one more question for Rob and Hannah. Music. Did y'all just bring a little boombox along, or how'd it go down?
We had a little speaker for the iPod and the iPad that worked on Bluetooth, so it's kind of nice. So whatever we had loaded up, we could bring the speaker outside and listen to whatever. Hannah likes some of the things that I like, and some of it not so much.
I think you like stuff I like. You just don't want to admit it.
Yeah. So, I'm like 10 years older than Hannah is, give or take. So, some of the new pop top 40 kind of stuff is really not my thing.
What's your thing? Like,
I'm a Rolling Stones guy.
Stones.
I like the Stones and the Who, and I like I like Rage Against the Machine.
Nice.
It's hard to keep that level of arousal though. Like if you were to play Rage for 30 days straight, that'd be hard to keep that level of arousal. But thank God neither of you brought like a harmonica, because I swear I'd murder someone.
I don't think I would enjoy listening to somebody play the harmonica.
No, not at all. Steel drums, forget it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, jeez.
You guys, any plugs? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I want to plug Hannah Jenner. Hannah's been doing a good job of doing some video stuff, and she's working for who are you working for, Hannah? Boat.com or something like that?
Yep.
So she's doing a great job, and yeah, that's
what was
plug.
the site? What was the site again?
Boats.com.
Boats.com.
I'm doing a blog for them and some videography stuff because I'm getting into sort of filming. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have.
Career.
I'm going to Google it right now.
And the Newport Bermuda race starts on June 20th. I'll be on Griffin Solo 2, and you can check it out online. I'm sure there's definitely a race tracker, and Hannah's boat will be in there as well, DeRaid. So check it out.
Will do. All right.
So now you guys, you'll be racing against each other.
Yeah, it's not the same class of boat. So,
okay.
Well,
and Hannah's not allowed to go.
I'm going on a plane, so I'm confident that I'm going to beat Rob to Bermuda.
Yeah. Didn't be too tough.
Excellent.
So what questions do we have?
Well, I got some questions here, Denny. First one goes out to Tex.
This is from Kojo Tex.
I am well aware. We're in contact here. I saw it.
Tex, give me my GoPro back.
I was on assignment.
You guys need to.
So, Tex, what's your answer?
I'm literally texted him as soon as I saw the question. We're gonna go out tonight. We'll take care of it. We'll film.
All right.
Okay.
Don't worry about
That was easy. All right. I'm gonna pop down one. So Roke Corona is asking us, can you give us any more information on the upcoming Big Monkey program? Any more information than I'm not sure what your base level of understanding of the program is yet, Roke, but sure. Here's another recap of what it's going to be. Tons of volume for the advanced fitness athlete. In terms of prerequisites and equipment requirements or anything like that, that's not something I can really push out yet, but a good place to start would be Field Strong. So if you can follow Field Strong with extra credit every day and you're feeling like you need more, like a lot more, then that's what you're going to get out of Big Monkey. So it's going to be.
But if you don't even have the time, for instance.
Yeah, and it's it's going to be roughly a 3 to 4 hour commitment per day, 5 to 6 days a week, and then 2 out of those 6, maybe even 7 days is going to be like a potentially 90-minute recovery, steady state type of movement, whether it's open water swimming or pool swimming or stationary bike or something like that. But it's going to prepare you for multi-event days, and it's going to have that seasonality catered to kind of the CrossFit Open and CrossFit Regionals and CrossFit Games. So you'll see something like that come out in a while. But I guess what I would suggest is, if you're a multi-WOD per day athlete and have a spare 4 hours to work, this program's probably going to be for you. Who it's not going to be for is going to be let's say the athlete who's like needs movement substitutions or needs to understand how they can get a 4-hour program done in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that's what we run into for the majority of the athletes.
I mean, we can say that all we want, but there's still going to be that person.
Yeah,
who's like,
and there's going to be no support for that. For those types of questions.
2 days a week, and I have 40 minutes, and I have a barbell and 2 5-pound plates.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for you.
Yeah, so there's some more information on that, and you know what you're going to see in there is it's going to be pull centric. We're going to have to get some overhead stability and endurance involved, and you have to be very competent in the skill work. So there's a little more on the Big Monkey program in terms of launch date or whatever if you're looking for when it's going to pop out. It's still really in development, and we got to figure out what exactly it's going to look like and how we're going to take a lot of the programming that we've already tested and determine what's going to be the most effective way to put this thing in. So there's the update on that. And then the last question we have here is from Rob Alexander, which he doesn't really give me a lot of details, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to answer this. But he says, can you provide me with more info regarding the Talk to Me Johnny article, CFFB 488, for those of us who follow as closely as possible, but are closer to 50 years than 40 years? Assuming 50 to 40 is age. I don't know exactly what you're following, because are you following the CrossFit Football 488, or are you following CrossFitFootball.com, or perhaps you're following Field Strong or another program?
The question's kind of vague.
Yeah, and I need to know a little more info, like what specifically you're training for. Are you a field sport athlete? Are you trying to attack a specific lift? What are your expectations out of your training? Are you trying to maximize gains in a specific discipline of lifting, like Olympic lifting or powerlifting? I need to know that stuff. But if you want to know more about the program, I'm going to post the article, and basically you follow the instructions. You have 4 workouts splitting upper and lower volume and intensity. And what we're really trying to regulate is volume, because with our older athletes, we find that volume in terms of your volume and training your barbell lifts it's harder to recover from. So that's how we partition the days. So you got your lower intensity, your upper volume, your upper intensity, and your lower volume. I guess I'm not sure how to kind of dive into that anymore, but the objective of the program is to keep you in the gym and keep you fresh enough to train 4 out of your 7 days a week, with one of those days being kind of like your mobility work, your ruck hikes, your swims, and your stretching. So that's the objective. In terms of like going in and walking out the other end a CrossFit Masters athlete, that's not the objective of the program. It's to keep you training, keep you healthy, keep you strong, and minimize detraining as you age, just because the biomarkers and physiological factors that allow you to train, like testosterone, other sex hormone, just your resiliency fades with age, and we're trying to temper that. So I guess if you're having trouble following it and you're still feeling like you're getting your shit kicked in, when you select your volume days, select lower sets and lower reps and see if that helps. I don't know, Tex or Callie or Denny, if you haven't, you guys have anything
It just
yet?
sounds like he has like a specific issue or something that he's not telling us. Like, mm-hmm. It sounds like he has a specific like roadblock or something that he wants to discuss, but he didn't say what it was.
Yeah. So Rob, I need some specifics from you, amigos. I know we're on like a 30-second delay, but maybe he'll pop back and we can address that little guy.
Yeah, back in the days when I just followed like CrossFitFootball.com, and when I'm 40, if I was just feeling beat to shit, I would just take a day off, do some mobility. Mm-hmm. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep, or my nutrition wasn't the greatest, and then I would just come back the next day, and that's what usually helped me be successful on a program like CrossFit Football. And I could knock out 4 or 5 days a week. So I would just say, when you start to feel like you're beat to shit, take a day off.
Mm-hmm. So Tex.
If honestly he has any more detailed questions, and if that didn't cover it, just shoot us an email.
Right.
And info@crossfitfootball.com, and we can all knock it out, take a stab at it.
or just some. I mean, because he's it's a squeaky wheel type deal. If he can also go onto our contact portion of the webpage at Power Athlete and submit a question. And I think what I'm going to do as well, unless he's maybe pretend he's not a member, but I'm also going to start up a Power Athlete Radio forum where there can be just additional dialogue about each episode and stuff like that. So those of our members at Power Athlete HQ, we're gonna start up a little Power Athlete forum. And Denny, I know we talked about that on email and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So just to buy some time, and because Callie threw up 3 lobs on the story, and I didn't jump on it. Tex, get this. Denny,
Get this.
listen.
I'm listening.
Linda.
Okay. And for anybody who, let's say, is looking for legitimate training advice, this is where the bullshit starts. So you can tune out. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, so all the complaints, aka 2, we've gotten about the podcast being about superfluous information that nobody gives a shit about. You're gonna want to stop listening now.
But if you want a good story,
Hell yeah.
here it comes. So we've put a regimented training schedule in at Power Athlete HQ that is mandatory-ish. And 8 a.m. you need to show up, and it's time to train. So Tex, guess what yesterday was? Volume
Day 1.
squat. Yeah, and we both missed it.
Well, we start tomorrow.
So yesterday was volume squats, bench, and then open water swim.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we go down to the beach, and as soon as we stick our toes
after
in the water,
our little get up sticks are a little bit shaky.
And it's cold. I mean, probably water temperature is 65.
It felt colder than that. It had to be like 60. It was fucking cold.
It wasn't that bad, but Callie was like in for a rough day because she forgot her goggles. She had fins on that Ethan lent her that were way too big, and I was ready. I was just ready to kind of go out. We were going to swim, kind of like past the break because there's people surfing, and then tread water for maybe 5-10 minutes. Let the tide bring us in, and then swim back out, float in, swim back out. Maybe like three swims, like 2 minutes expenditure, something like that, just to kind of move. So we get out there, Callie's straggling behind, and she's like,
I was acclimating to the temperature.
Oh, whatever. And so she's like, why am I so afraid? I feel like there's a shark. What is that? What is this? And it's like, just like hemp leaves,
Meanwhile, I live at the beach.
Well, anyways, let me get to the story. So there I am. We're surrounded by great white sharks, maybe 10 of them, right? And I'm fighting these things off, punching them, poking them in the eye, all the things I've heard.
We're treading water. We start the water starts to bring us in a little bit closer. And I remember Ethan I was saying, hey, how deep are we? He's like, I don't know. And he drops down. He pops right back up 2 seconds later. He's like, oh, we're like
6
at
feet.
6 feet right now.
So I'm treading water, and it brings us into 5'11", and I get stung by a fucking stingray in the bottom of my foot.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Stung by a stingray.
Yes.
And I'm like, I knew what happened. I could even see it with my mind's eye, this enormous, deadly, ferocious stingray coming after me and stung me right in the center of my foot.
The bees of the ocean, as I call them.
Turns out that's exactly what it feels like, an enormous bee. And so I'm like, Ethan, I think I just got stung by a stingray. Which Ethan's our intern, and he's basically lives in, like, he's Mr. Nature, Mr. Beach, snorkels, and he's like, oh yeah, you'll be fine. I'm like, and basically
I was like, when do I pee on it?
Yeah, so I get out, like, so what do we do? We pee on it? What goes on? So we swim in, and Callie runs in, like, the whole lifeguard thing happens. The lifeguard comes over, and he looks at me, and he's like, where's the pain on a threshold of 1 to 10, which is also what Callie asked me, and I think it was like 6 or 7.
It's a standard question.
Like a 6 or 7, but like, what really is 10?
Dude, a 6 or 7 is pretty high, and I knew when Luke said 6 or 7 that this was like pretty like serious. So he could barely walk.
Yeah, I couldn't put pressure on it, and it felt like have either of you ever stepped on a nail?
Yeah. I have stepped on a nail.
Yeah.
Okay, so like if you are, let's say, 12 years old, don't want to tell your parents, step on a nail and it gets super infected.
Yeah,
like,
festers.
Yeah, so it felt exactly like that, but a little bit worse because it was almost like.
Who doesn't tell what are your parents going to be mad?
Because we were breaking windows in this house. It was just.
Yeah,
whatever.
I remember doing it, climbing through like a basement window I wasn't supposed to. So
yeah.
I know what Luke's talking about.
But it was like immediately like that. And then that pain starts to kind of go up in your ankle and calf. And this guy comes over and he's like, I don't think it's a stingray, because I've seen bodybuilders get stung by stingrays, and they're basically crying as soon as their girlfriends turn the corner or something like that. Remember that?
Yeah, no, I remember it, but it was more like, I've seen bodybuilders get like stung. Like, this is a total California lifeguard. He's like, yeah, it'd be fine. Just like,
so they take so they have the whole guy cart me off, which actually probably was better because I couldn't.
I told you.
It would have been a struggle to walk.
I told you.
And
the cure is
you stick your foot in boiling hot water.
Yeah. Because
apparently the stingray injects a protein that is denatured and like sterilized. I don't know, that's not the right terminology, but it's denatured and cooked,
neutralized
in like hot water. So Callie lives right across the street, so we go over there, and she's got like all these different little containers I'm trying to fit my foot into.
None of them
Long
work.
story short, girls have miniature everything. Like no 5-gallon bucket, no retention bucket if you have to like change a pee trap, like nothing.
I bring out like a water bottle. I'm like, can you fit your foot in here?
But so it sucked.
So
damn, dude.
That's a story.
How's it feeling now?
It feels swollen, but
how's your vagina?
It's swollen.
Do you need a sub for this weekend in Austin?
No,
that's what I already asked.
I'm gonna have John do all the warm-ups.
Hilarious.
But no, I'll tell you what, like sticking your foot in boiling hot water was not much better. Like I felt like my toes were just gonna singe off. And then but there's one more element to the story. So like dogpiling on Callie's like, yeah, man, like looks like a stingray guy. The other lifeguard who drives me back is like, hey bro, I'm gonna have to write this report up, so I'm gonna have to get some info. I'm like, all right, like, so I'm like waiting for a clipboard to come out and fill out a form. He's like, what's your name? I'm like, Luke. He's like, how old are you? I'm like 31. He's like, all right, that'll do it. I'm like, what type of reports are you writing up?
Reports over.
I don't know why.
And that was the extent of it. He didn't write it down. I don't even think he was making eye contact with you when you said that. Anyway, that's a story.
Crazy.
I know. I was so hoping that like it would get to the point where Luke couldn't move any of his lower limbs, like they'd be paralyzed, and then there'd be this heroic girl, fireman carrying the sky, or possibly a large woman because of his long hair. Yeah, but it never came down to that.
In hindsight, it was pretty anticlimactic.
Well, the whole moral of the story is that I'm never getting in the ocean again.
I'm ready. I'll go today.
Anyway, that's it. That's all we got.
Well,
I think Callie, since you can't get in the ocean, maybe you should get in an ice bath.
Yes, I know. I need someone to film it though. My roommate, I swear, my roommate is out of town. I think it's weird. My roommate's out of town. It's super weird if I'm like, hey, Luke, come film me, and I'm just gonna get in my own bathtub.
iPhone and
set it up like this.
Okay. What's an iPhone? No, I will take.
Dude, it's like that's a kind of a bad California stereotype.
That's right.
I already know the 3 people I'm going to call out, so I'll take care of it today. Just I've totally slacked on that. That's a complete oversight. I did pay up though, but I'm excited to call out my 3 peeps. So I'll go grab some ice, and I need to take care of that ASAP.
Yeah, we've taken over Australia. We are completely crushing it, and we're at $5,005 in just.
That is awesome.
I got in the ice a week and a half ago. So
that's amazing.
That's cool, dude.
And we selected the study that we're going to fund, which is pretty exciting. And I'll put that in. I'll email it to Luke for the show notes, so you can actually
see where your money's going.
Yeah, which I think is just a game changer for us in Wade's Army.
Beautiful.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, kudos to you for all the efforts, to everybody really, but
that's right. I'll get in the cold bath today. I'll probably stay in.
One of my call-outs do it. Carl's the only one who stepped up to the plate. Freddie dropped the ball.
Did you boys?
We should mention that next episode, Power Athlete Radio episode 59, we're going to have Freddie and China on.
Yay!
Yes.
China Cho, recent games qualifier.
Beautiful.
Yeah, China kicked ass. I'm sure everybody knows about it. There'll be some other exciting news that they'll announce. So get ready for episode 59.
Yeah, it's gonna be, dude. Those guys, they're so cool. And like, I guess I don't know if they're that popular, or I just like I'm friends on Facebook with everyone that they're friends with.
They are.
But they were peppered all over my little Facebook deal. And just pictures of like China celebrating, China's dad, who's also awesome. Mr. Cho is super cool. Like he takes on average 390 photos per minute at the CrossFit events. And but no, that's going to be good. And I'm excited to connect with those guys. So
there were some great pictures. You know, and I don't know if you saw his post before that, but he kind of put a post out there like, you know, unless you really are like a games level athlete, you know, the preparation for that, this huge emotional drain, or I don't know if drain's the right word, that it puts on you. I mean,
strain.
Thank you. It seemed like there was like the nerves were like getting to those guys, and I'm just glad it all really worked out. And
yeah, honestly,
that one picture where he's giving her a big hug, you can just see it on his face, like.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to base my next comment off of. I think the only thing worse than having to psychologically prepare for the CrossFit Games is having to
watch your
girlfriend psychologically prepare for the fucking regionals, man. I think you become a punching bag, a sounding board, the number one person to console. Like you probably have to wear all these different hats, and I mean, you could just see that. And you know that Freddie supported her like for the last 3 or 4 years in this thing, where she's kind of gotten jammed up, just right on the cusp there. So it's exciting to see her go. So yeah, it's going to be a great show.
Cool.
I think that's it.
All right, boys. See you next week.
Yep.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You guys.
Bye.
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 Bye.